Hello. You are here. If you're right here watching this show, you're at the Visibility Corner with Barbara J. Beckley, myself. Uh, Basically, I love every time I have this show because I am basically helping individuals, first of all, understand that visibility is the key so people can see your genius, what you do for the world. And I always say you're a lighthouse to the world if you're helping others and you're helping yourself in the same time. And I thought that it would be really interesting to bring on different entrepreneurs, different business owners that basically are in different fields, different lanes in their lives, but get some tips of what they do when it comes to getting visible for their business. Understand that they have to step up and be out there so people get to know who you are. I always talk about why hide a treasure. If you're a treasure and you're going to help individuals in their lives, being if you're a coach, you're a consultant, you're a speaker, author, whatever you are, you have to get that visibility. And I'm excited because I'm bringing on some wonderful expertise that's coming in this particular room, in this virtual room, as I call it, to talk and have a conversation. Now, first, one thing I always believe in is every time I bring somebody into the room, that we understand who they are first. Because what did I always say about everybody's lighthouse in the world? You got to get to know the individual. And then we're going to dig a little bit deep on how visibility in their world works and how they help others too. So this is to maximize your reach and impact with experts' visibility strategies. So with that, the wonderful lady is going to come on. And you know, when I have ladies come on my show, I call them queens. They look at them as royalty. And this lady is royalty, I'm telling you. Lee Midlane is a seasoned, okay, video content creator and the founder of the Video Production Academy. Now, already you can see the expertise in this already. With over 30 years experience in the media industry, Lee has a passion for helping tech-stressed business owners harness the power of video to content effectively with their audience. And, okay, that's not all. She's a recipient of the Best Corporate Video Producer Award in 2022. Lee is dedicated in making video content creation accessible and enjoyable for businesses of all sizes. Please join her courses, and she's going to talk a little bit about that to let you experience guide you through the exciting world of video content creation for your business. And I always tell people that video is the trend. So she's hitting it when we're talking about content creation. It's one thing to do a video. It's another thing to bring good content. And I know she's going to hit upon that as well. So I'm going to get to our sponsor, and we're going to bring on this wonderful queen, and we're going to have a conversation with her to learn more about her world. We will be right back. Hello, lady. Queen Lee.
That's a first. I've never been called that before, but you know, I'll take it. It's good. It's all good.
You got that crown, lady. So first of all, before we even start and getting to know you and getting to learn some wonderful, I know, tips that you have and strategies, I thank you for coming on the Visibility Corner. It's always a present for me, and I know it's a present for our audience to really get to learn the experts and what you do and how you are. And I always say this, some people be like, really, Barbara? But you are a world changer, because if you're helping other people get to the next level in their business and their lives, you're changing the world. So I just want to give you those kudos for you before we start into just getting to know you, who you are.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes. So before we even start into that, you know, I always want to know just a little bit of backstory about how you got to this point, because being this, you know, the creation of content and, you know, the awards that you're getting, and you're doing so much. But I know there was something that said, there's a reason why I got here. So just give us a little backstory first.
Okay, so I originally started working in the media 34 years ago. And I taught media studies. I'm a qualified teacher, but life has a way of sort of going in different directions. So I'll really condense it. I ended up founding an IT business back in 2015. So I own a computer repair shop and I've got a team of technicians. So 2020, lockdown happened, the world changed, and all of a sudden, I had to show up for my business because my business couldn't function in the same way. We weren't allowed to have our doors open, so I had to be the face of the business. Now, there's less than 40% of IT roles are taken by women, less than 9% are technical. I don't have a figure for how many women led IT companies there are, but I can think that it's going to be less than that. So I felt that I had this role to play. Now, when I was doing media work, I was a VT editor, I was an audio editor. I could do pretty much anything that I needed to do, but it was always behind the scenes. It was always behind the camera. I had no aspiration to be in front of the camera at all. None, zero, zip. I am as introverted as you will get. And still, if you put me in a room of real people for a networking session, I am very uncomfortable, hugely uncomfortable. But because I knew I needed to show up for my business, I thought, that's fine, I'll do Facebook Lives. So I did two, and they were awful. They were actually beyond awful because I was getting red faced, sweaty palms, palpitations. I was monotone and wooden. So it wasn't a good experience on either side of the screen at all. And I thought about this and I thought, I have a decision here. I have a choice to make. I can just say, do you know what? It's fine. This isn't for me. It's okay. We'll go do something else. Or I can get the hang of it. I can conquer this. And so it's like go big or go home. So I went big and I did 30 Facebook Lives every day for a month. And what happened at about day 3 or 4, I just relaxed. I just sort of thought, it doesn't have to be perfect. It actually was more about just getting to the end of the session, and that's fine because we're doing it again tomorrow. And really, that started a journey on my journey of being in front of the camera to the point now where I'm very relaxed doing it. This is my happy space. And another thing that happened in that year is I had the opportunity to be able to study online because my business was quiet. I was working from home. And there was one group that I was in had 4,000 people in this group. And there were so many people saying, I can't do that because I can't do that because I can't be on camera. I can't do that because I don't have a budget. I can't do that because I'm not technical. And I saw all these self-limiting beliefs made on assumptions about what was there. And so that's how the Video Production Academy came about, because I really want to help people condense that experience so they don't have to go through what I went through. I can condense it down into a nice, neat package that means that they can do this much quicker and hopefully without the hot flushes and palpitations.
Well, first of all, Queen, I just love how you say, you know what, go big or go home. And you just said, I'm just going to sit here, do 30 Facebook, get this stuff out the way, get all this, anxiety that I have, and just do it because you knew how important your purpose was to help others. And I love it. That's why I was getting when you were telling me that, I was like, yes, you did it. Push through. And see, look at you now. I would never, ever think in a million years that you were introvert and you were not feeling comfortable in talking to people. I mean, this is, it's like, what?
Yeah.
But see, that's what happens when you push and persevere and doing
Yeah.
what you want to do. And then, like you said, going back to visibility part of it, it's important to get yourself out there if you are trying to do, whatever lane that a person's in. And like you said, for yourself, and then you see other people having problems. See, I always tell people when you can solve somebody else's problem, that's when your business, you start to say to yourself, okay, what can I do for that person within my business? So wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Wow. So I wanted to kind of just ask, like I said, this is where some of the little strategy and tips that I want to get from you as an expert. And I know that what are some, and this is like I would tell people, there's benefits regarding content, okay, creating that. So, what are some of the benefits that business can derive from creating or getting video content, and how does it contribute to increase their visibility and reach for their business?
Okay, so marketing is about like, knowing, and trusting the person that you're buying from. It's relational, it's not transactional. If you went into a store, you get to speak directly to that person. You get to have a conversation, you get to build a relationship with that person. It's very three-dimensional. And if you are reading a post on social media or reading a blog, you read it with your own filters on. You read it from your own perception and your own place. So where video transcends that is it's the next best thing to having an in-person conversation, because you get to hear the different accents, you get to see somebody's mannerisms. It's the nearest thing to actually getting to meet them, to the point that people that appear regularly on video will have people come to them and speak to them as if they know them. And this happened recently to a friend of mine who's a content creator. This guy out of nowhere walks up to him in a coffee shop and says, "Vic, how are you? It's great to see you." And Vic's going, "I'm fine." And he's thinking, "Do I know you?" And he's a church pastor, but he's also a whiskey educator. He meets lots of people, and he's thinking, maybe I've met this guy somewhere. He hadn't. And at the end of the conversation, he said, "It's me, Graham. I watch all your videos." It was like, okay. So it kind of bridges a gap. That although it's still two-dimensional, it bridges that gap between what people think you are and what they can see that you are.
Yes. And I love how you said that it's not transactional, it's a relationship portion of it. And I tell people you have to build that like trust with the person in order for them to kind of get into your world and say, okay, I'm going to trust this person and I get to know this person. And I love your example that I know he was like, I don't know, I don't really know him. He's like, I watch all your videos. And it's like, wow, I created this for just that. That is, yeah. When that happens, you know that you're on the right track of whatever videos that he's producing out there.
Absolutely.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, I was going to also ask you too, with businesses with video content, to tell their story. I know a lot of times people always say you need to tell your story, just not just tell, boom, 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 like a list of stuff that you do. So what do you think how effective that is, to connect with their audience? Is that how do you think that's important for that aspect of it?
I think it's hugely important. And I know when I first thought about telling my story, I thought it was like a really big thing. You tell the whole story. And actually, it's not, it's little things. So it's about making points of connection. So if I tell you about the fact that I'm based in Scotland, the number of people who have relatives, ancestry, or a love of the place, even if they've never been here, is massive. So that's a point of connection. The fact that I have 3 children that are on the autistic spectrum is a point of connection. So it's about creating these points of connections through the story. And it's about making you a whole person. The fact that I'm in Scotland, the fact that I'm a parent is irrelevant to my business, really. It doesn't make me a better video coach or a worse video coach, but it allows you to connect with me in a different way. So the fact that I tell my story about being behind the camera for 30 years and being so scared of being in front of the camera that there's actually not even any photographs of me as an adult until a couple of years ago, because that my introversion is that extreme, to the point now that I'm teaching other people how to be confident on camera. If I said to you 85% of women don't like appearing on camera, they'll go, yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I can see that. But if you hear my story of saying it was awful, but I got over it, then you can connect with that.
Because, like you said, the percentage is so high. So when you did tell your story a little while ago about how you were like, ugh, I'll never. I mean, when you said it, you said, I never want to get on video. I'm always the background person. And I was feeling you, because going back to that connection, I was like that 7 years ago. I mean, I was the shyest person in the world, and people be like, now, like, Barbara, you talk too much now. I said, but I was shy. I really was. I didn't want to talk to I didn't want to get in front of nobody. I didn't want to be put out there. I didn't want none of that. And I think that's why I have such a passion of what I do now, is because, like you said, Queen, that how important go big or go home. I keep thinking about what you said with that. And I said, well, if I want to help other people of going, because I went through, then I need to kind of lead by example.
Absolutely.
So
I
you lead by
I think
example.
I think sometimes one of the things that you can do with the storytelling element as well is almost like a Schadenfreude of, oh, I'm glad that wasn't me. So the very first podcast I was ever on, so I'm still in my very scared, nervous stage at this point. So I'm going to be on this podcast. It's fine. I'm okay. It's just going to be audio. So I turn up and he says, oh, by the way, we're also streaming live to YouTube and LinkedIn. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. It didn't give me any time to be nervous. I'm okay. It's all right. So we make a start and that's fine. So this is the point where we're still in lockdown. So I'm working from home. I'm actually in my kitchen and we had a radiator behind me. So I'm fine. I'm in the flow. And I look over my shoulder in the screen and I can see a very clean but folded up item of underclothing on the radiator behind me. And I'm like, oh dear, that's not good. And I thought, it's okay, he'll take me off screen in a minute and I'll grab it and throw it and it'll be fine. And he didn't take me off screen once. Now, nobody else could tell what it was, but I knew what it was and I knew it was there. So I was very red and very embarrassed. So people always love that story because they're like, oh, thank goodness it wasn't me. So the stories help you build the connection, but they can also build the humanity of the other person as well, which I think is really vital.
Yes, it is. And you know what? I think vulnerability is more and more acceptable now than anything. That's why I tell people you don't have to be perfect anymore.
Yeah.
Everybody feels like they have to come on the screen, sit straight, say whatever, look in, all that. And a lot of times people just want the realness of you because they want to feel, like you said, connected.
I
Yeah.
think there's been a huge shift recently because I think pre-lockdown, Instagram perfect was the thing that people were trying to achieve. Even though that Instagram perfect's not real, that was the target they were aiming for. And actually, I think there's been a huge shift. I don't know if it's because of the way that we weren't able to be out in the same way, or if it's the fact we were online so much more. But actually, now people want authenticity, integrity, and that alignment and that congruency far more than they want Instagram perfect. And actually, they have far more grace for you slipping up than they would do for something that's an Instagram influencer.
I totally agree. I totally agree, Lee. Yeah, I have seen the shift and the changes through, like you said, with TikTok, Instagram, all people are doing real short stories, everything. It's a whole change, a
Yeah.
whole change. And in one aspect, I was like, okay, I don't have to be all like perfect picture, all that. I can just come on and people still. But one thing I want to ask about that though, and this I want your opinion on this. I know a lot of people are doing videos, either Facebook Lives or doing, podcasts or whatever, and being themselves. What do you think? Because I was having a conversation with another business person the other day, and they said, Barbara, I feel like I have to have my content more important. That's more important to me than just coming on, a video saying hello. And she said, I've been seeing a lot of videos that the content is kind of weak and people are still kind of resonating with it. So what do you think in that aspect?
I think content is key. I think people are looking for value. They're looking for information. They're looking for solutions. And I think if you are authentically yourself, you will naturally attract people. So even where the content's maybe a little bit wobbly, people are resonating with the person that's delivering it. And video quite often will fall into two camps, especially if you look at something like TikTok, because you have the entertainment element of the dances and the music and things. But there's actually a very strong educational element to TikTok. So they've just started this STEM initiative where they're promoting video from science, technology, engineering, and maths. So there's definitely two sides to it. But I think we have a responsibility to get our message out there. Somebody is waiting for our message. And it's a process over time that we get much better at delivering our message, that we improve our skills. And every expert starts at a beginner. So you just have to get going and make that start. However wobbly those first videos are, you need to do that in order to improve. Otherwise, you'll just be not making videos rather than making ropey videos. But the content is absolutely key. And the tip that I would give is don't give out too much content in one go. People try and put too much information into a video when actually just a bit of micro content, just one element is enough, because people would struggle to remember. If you give them one thing to remember, they'll retain it. If you give them three, they're going to struggle.
So true, Queen, because I tell people less is more. I always tell people one thing about it when talking to people like podcast or when you're interviewing anything. I said less is more because they're like, well, I want to add all this stuff and I want to tell them all this. I'm like, no, save all that for your, when they get to your page or if you want to work with them or if they want to work with you. But like you said, just one little aspect and let that be a strong one, like you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the important part too. If you're going to give that one point, let it be something that's really going to resonate and help them and guide them in somewhere in their lives. So I was going to ask you one more thing about, in your opinion, what are some emerging trends in video, what you see in video creation that businesses should be aware of, and how can they leverage that with the trends? Because I know trends are always changing to stay with their own competition. What do you think of that?
I think that you can book the trend, and I'm definitely an advocate of running your own race and doing your own thing. But one of the things that I have noticed, which I think is really beneficial for businesses, is the need to be slick has gone. So when I did my media training, if I put a jump cut into a video, I'd have been told off and told to do it again. And now it's fine for your video to not be perfect. And actually, imperfect video is what's going to resonate with the audience far more than a super slick corporate shiny piece of work. Now, that still has its own place, but for day-to-day video, the imperfect is going to have more connection than having something that's too good. So I think that's really beneficial for businesses because it means we don't need a big budget. We can just use our cell phones. We don't need to be technically minded because it can be something as simple as a Facebook Live or the simple tools out there for editing. It doesn't have to have fancy captions on it or graphics or B-roll or any of the things that would make it so it was more technical. So it means that video is actually available to everybody and anybody now. If you have a laptop with a webcam or you have a cell phone, then you can be making videos. And frankly, you have no excuse. Get on and do it.
I love that. Just do it. And I love how you said with the trend, because, there's trends and, you have to always stay with, what's new, what's going on. So I love how you said just, first of all, just do it. And then you don't have to be that perfect. It's in certain areas, like you said. I mean, in corporate and something like that, I know you have to get a little bit more tight in what you're doing and have those PowerPoints or what have you. But eventually you can just be yourself. And I love how you said, I think that will always beat the trend out, because if you just be yourself, that really is important. Now, Lee, I wanted to ask you just a little bit before we close out with your academy. Can you just tell a little bit about your academy that you do for people?
Absolutely. I wanted to be able to create bite-size on-demand courses for people anywhere. And this is where visibility really shows up. I'm based in a little tiny town in northeast Scotland. We have 20,000 people in our capital city. We have 92,000 people in the whole county, so we're really small. But I have this opportunity to be able to work with people internationally. So I do a lot in the US and Canada, but I've also worked with people through Europe, Australia, and New Zealand and Hong Kong, because video can make that connection for you. So the Video Production Academy produces these small courses, so they're just on single elements, that are available anytime that you need them. And we're producing a new course every 3 months. So at the moment, we've only got 2 courses up, which is the Be Camera Confident, which is all about getting confident on camera. And then next week, we're releasing Talk Savvy, which is all about creating a signature talk to be able to get you out onto more digital platforms to position yourself as an authority. So that's something that we're releasing every 3 months from here on in, because actually, we're still quite new.
Wow. But I love what you're giving out. I mean, a lot of what you said, people need to know that, and that helps them get themselves prepared, especially, just getting ready for podcasts and just feeling more comfortable on the camera. I see a lot of that when I'm looking through like Facebook and people are answering questions saying, I just don't feel right. I don't even know. And sometimes they're like, well, what do I say when I get on the video. I don't know what to say. And because they get so, bombarded with, first of all, just get on video.
Yeah.
So I love how you do that with the Academy. Now, how long is the Academy? Is it like a certain membership that they can come online? Or
Yeah, so there's two different options. The courses you can just buy outright, and once you've got it, it's yours forever. But I've also got Shoot for the Moon membership, and with the membership, you get instant access to all the courses, including the back catalogue. So 1 month you'll get a course, and then the next month you get a challenge, because I strongly believe that education without implementation is simply entertainment. So that's not my quote, by the way. I would love it to be, but it's Tim Sanderson's. Got to give credit where credit's due. So Talk Savvy is coming out next month. So that is the course for May. Then in June, we're doing a visibility challenge. So it's 30 days of rise and shine. So it's about creating the talk, but then actually getting out there and getting it onto digital platforms and seeing what impact that has. And so we have this 3-month cycle. And then in the third month, we have a tech talk from an industry expert. We also have community calls each month. We also have brainstorm breakout sessions. So it's like group coaching without the hefty price tag that you can have with it. So I think that the membership adds really good value. And although it's a monthly fee, it's exactly the same price as buying a course. So for me, I've tried to make it so it's a no-brainer.
yeah, there's no excuses. I
No,
always tell you no excuses
definitely
at
not.
all. And getting so much value that you're giving them. So wow. Well, Lee, what I want to do is I always want to make sure that you leave any lasting thoughts or tips and how they can contact you. So what I want to do is I want to take myself down for like 30 seconds and let you just, say what you want to say to the audience, and then I'll be back up and we can close out.
Well, there's no pressure at all with that one whatsoever, is it? I would wholeheartedly recommend that anybody and everybody has a go at being on video. And there's some simple ways that you can do that. Create a Facebook group of one, just you in it. Gives you a sandbox for you to have a play in and have a go at doing video, because you only get better through practice. There is no magic wand. There is no silver bullet. You only get comfortable by doing. And watch yourself back, because it will desensitize you to how you actually look on camera. So I'd love for you to get in touch. It's really simple. Everything is Video Production Academy, videoproductionacademy.co.uk. Same on Instagram, same on Facebook. But go for it. If I can do it, you can do it 100%.
Wonderful, wonderful, Queen Lee. Thank you so much, lady. Again, another gift. And I tell everybody, just learn from, the different things that we go through, her story, what she's doing for people, her academy. I mean, much needed, much needed, much needed, Lee. So thank you again for coming on the Visibility Corner with myself. And you are welcome anytime to come back. If anything new, any new trends that you see, or any other tips that you want to give to our audience, you are so welcome to come back to the show.
Thank you. Really appreciate that. And thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, so much. And everybody out there, this is the Visibility Corner with Barbara J. Beckley. We'll be back with the next session next week. And as I always say, maximize your reach, because you are a lighthouse to the world of what you do, and you are a world changer for the world. Thank you so much.